Welcome to the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast with your host, hailing from Kaukauna, Wisconsin, riding a CST tires, SSI decals, traveling back Yamaha YFZ 450R, four-time ATV Motocross National Champion, number 25, Cody Jansen.
What's up, everybody?
We're back!
Welcome to a live show edition of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, live from the first annual Quad-A-Palooza event here at legendary Budds Creek Raceway in Mechanicsville, Maryland. I'm your host, Cody Jansen, and I am so stoked to be here. This is such an honor. When track owner Ezra Beasley first proposed the idea and asked if I'd be involved, it was an absolute no-brainer. If you're listening to this in its audio form, welcome to episode 137 of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, presented by our title sponsor, CST Tires, in stock and available for purchase today at shop.csttires.com. Again, I'm your host, Cody Jansen, saying hello to our nearly 256,000 monthly Digging Deep listeners in all 108 countries in which you are listening, and welcome to our second ever Digging Deep live podcast show. We have a trio of can't-miss guests joining us here tonight, including Max Lindquist directly off the AMA ATV Pro Class podium at Ironman, ATV Racing International superstar Kevin Saar, current pro sport points leader and the next big thing in ATV racing, Joey Norris, as well as the man behind Mini Moto Nation and Budds Creek track owner Ezra Beasley as well. But first, let's quickly shout out all of our incredible partners. CST Tires, go to shop.csttires.com today. Yamaha, thanks to Blue Crew. Thanks to SSI Decals, Valvoline, DID Racing Chain, Namira Technologies, Bronco ATV and UTV Components, Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply, the financial advice of the Haymauer Financial Group, DP Brakes, Factory 43, Binky's Forever ATC Museum, Impact Solutions, Ultimate Poly Products, UPP Racing, our choice when it comes to case savers, chain sliders, intake manifolds, and more, the D6 Ultimate Quad Series, and Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping with code DiggingDeep20 at manscaped.com. Go to manscaped.com today and use code DiggingDeep20 for 20% off plus free shipping. Whether it's the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, the GOAT of electric razor trimmers, my favorite, the Beard Hedger Pro Kit from Manscaped, or the best nose hair trimmer ever created, the Weed Whacker 2.0, get 20% off and free shipping with code DiggingDeep20 at manscaped.com. So rad that Manscaped is continuing to invest in ATV racing as a longtime partner of Digging Deep. Help us keep them in the fold and involved in ATV racing by using our Digging Deep 20 code so they know you enjoy digging deep and what we're all about. Support all these great companies that support us, and for any products that fall through the cracks, click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner on our website to help us out. No matter what off-road gear parts you need, Rocky Mountain ATVMC has you covered. But before you buy, simply click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner on our website. By using our specific link, we get a percentage of what you buy on the back end, enabling you to help us out while purchasing the parts you need anyway. And did you know you can buy OEM parts from Rocky Mountain ATVMC as well? Yep, shipped conveniently right to your door. So click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner at diggingdeepatvmx.com to help us out while satisfying all your gear and parts needs. Shout out to all of our donors, and if you are interested in donating and hearing your name on the show, you can find the Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee donation links on our website. Major thanks to all who have donated. Now, if you can't donate, but you still want to help us out, you can leave us a rating or a review on iTunes and Spotify. That helps us out a bunch as well. Now, it's showtime. The 30-second board is up, it's sideways, and the gate is down. Time to dig deep.
Let's go!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a live edition of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, live from the inaugural Quad-A-Palooza event here at the legendary Budds Creek Motocross in Mechanicsville, Maryland. I'm your host, Cody Jansen, and I am stoked to be here. This is such an honor. When track owner Ezra Beasley first proposed this idea to me and asked me if I wanted to get involved in this, it was an absolute no-brainer. things got a little sketchy last night. I've been filling in people a little bit during the day here. A couple delayed flights. I ended up sleeping in the airport, but I'm here, and there's nowhere on earth I'd rather be right now than right here. We had to adjust what we got going on here, too. We're not in front of a live crowd tonight. We're inside the legendary tower here at Budds Creek because of a chance of a little weather here this evening. But either way, we're making the most of it. This is still such a rad thing for myself and for Digging Deep. We got a trio of rad guests for you tonight as well. So we're going to get right into the action here. But before we jump in with our first featured guest, I just want to say one more time how much of an honor it is to be here. And I'm proud to have Digging Deep on this stage. Our first and only live show that we've ever done was back in 2019 when the podcast was brand new. I think that episode dropped as episode 5, and it was with Team USA at Redbud that year. And that was an awesome memory. And this is going to be just as awesome, I think, here doing this at another legendary venue like this. So now we're here. We're part of an ATV focused event here at this iconic facility. When I think of Budds Creek, I think of the legendary Bubba Scrub that happened right to my right here. I think of Ricky Carmichael's very last race, the 2007 Motocross of Nations. Speaking of Motocross of Nations, maybe the most iconic thing ever in my mind is Ryan Villapoto conquering the entire field here at that same Motocross of Nations on a 250 lights bike at the time. And now every time I think of Budds Creek, I'm going to think about this moment right here. And I can't thank Ezra Beasley enough and his crew for having us for this. So this is a really special thing for us. But let's bring up our first guest of the night. Give us a he's back, because Max Lindquist is back. People coming to us directly from the AMA ATV Pro Class podium a week ago at Ironman. Say hello to the number 2 of Max Lindquist. Max, how you doing, pal? Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Cody. Super happy to be here. Kind of like you said, super awesome event going on. Stoked to be a part of it. And obviously after last weekend was a great weekend to racing and get into that. But big thanks to Mr. Beasley here and the whole crew. It's been a fun stay and super stoked on this whole deal. I think it's a cool setup and hope to see it grow into the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it comes at a perfect time to have you here to sit down with you. Now, that's pretty cool for me because I haven't done a ton of these interviews sitting with the rider at the same time right next to me. So this is really rad. Obviously we can get into this a little bit, but you and I have a special connection too, being that we live like literally 20 miles apart. You'd said to me earlier today, now I've been sitting here all damn day and thinking to myself, I was so jealous of every single rider out there. And you said to me, why don't you tell me you just throw a quad in the truck or whatever and bring it? And I didn't know that you went back home. I didn't know that we could navigate all that. So yeah, that would have been really cool, but I was pretty jealous of all you guys riding out there today. The track was prime.
Yeah, I mean, not to rub it in, but it was all-time conditions today. Smooth, awesome, fast racetrack. Came around about prime conditions at about 2-3 o'clock, and Cody, you just missed out. So I hate to tell you, it was great. But no, it's like you said, super cool to sit right here next to you and do this, especially coming we've known each other for so long. It's so fun to sit down here and just kind of talk it out and get to talk racing. It's always fun.
Man, I remember you on a mini quad at the local track down the road. It's crazy. Now you're a big man on campus coming off. Like I said, couldn't have been a better time to get together with you coming off that Pro Class podium last weekend. So we'll get into that, of course. But let's talk about this event a little bit first. This event modeled after you or molded after you a little bit, being that you and Wiener Motorsports are a big part of this. Chad didn't make it this weekend for the riding school. He had some family stuff going on, I believe. But yeah, pretty rad that this was something for you to really kind of be a part of, a main staple of. That's a pretty cool thing. And again, for me to be here, we're not at Gravity Park anymore. This is Budds Creek. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's one and only Budds Creek. They don't make hills like these everywhere you go. So super cool to come out. And a few months back, when kind of like we had talked there, back when we got Chad just happened to message me and is like, hey, you interested in this idea? And I had to jump on it. To be here and be in front of an audience like this and get the opportunity to come to Budds Creek and hold a school is always going to be something I say yes to. So super stoked on that. And just, the event itself, it seems to be going pretty smooth. And I hope it's something that we can grow on in the future. And, obviously would have loved to have seen Chad show up, but understood what was going on there. And we had, to work around a few things as we are this evening with some weather, but all in all, like a super fun time, just interacting with people and not being at the races. You get to sit down and really understand who some people are and like get to have some fun outside of just being on the track with these guys.
You know, I always thought it was pretty cool to see riders like yourself now, you know, outside of that race day element, because that's your work day, you know, and that's a really hard thing. Like, they see you at the racetrack and they evaluate you what you're like on that day when you're different the other 6 days of the week, you know?
Yeah, and that's kind of what we've been discussing all day, like seeing people, everyone, you know, tries to give you your space and let you do your thing. And I'm like, no, like, come hang out, say hi. Like, I want to meet everybody and know everybody. Like, you see all these little kids and these names, and, you know, like, I was that little kid at one point. So you really want to get to know these people, because you're like, you never know, like, some of these 10, 12-year-old kids that you're meeting at the track and teaching right now could be kids that you're banging bars with 10 years down the road. So it's just super cool to like get to meet all these parents and people that come. And definitely, like, if you're showing up tomorrow, like, come say hi and hang out, because it's like you said, Saturdays are tough. You want to see everybody, but yet you're got to keep your game face on. And here on a weekend like this, you can kind of relax and have some fun and just enjoy the ATV community as a whole.
Absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't get any better than this. I always thought the way that you can kind of let your hair down on a weekend like this, but still have the ATV community together, it's a totally different feel. And we don't get to experience that enough, because it's so business-like on race day, you know?
Yeah, I love like the idea of this event, and like I feel like it's a great opportunity for us pros to show up and get some seat time in, but yet enjoy the fans and the fun of like being around the ATV community. Because when you're at the races, you're in and you're out. You're trying to get there, show up, and get your things set up and keep your ducks in a row. Where here, I get to show up and have some fun this evening and go out and, you know, we're gonna play some cornhole with the kids or watch some Supercross, whatever it is. Like, that's those are fun moments that, you know, opportunities like this just don't happen all the time.
Cool opportunities too for the other riders that you're obviously out there riding with, guys that are racing Pro-Am, guys that are racing A class. There's probably a couple B class guys out there today, and that's cool too, because I remember being a little kid and, you know, being on the track with Doug Gust, or, you know, when we're in Florida and John Natale goes by you or something like that. Like, that's what those kids are thinking when they see you or with them out there on the racetrack, and that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, like, it was pretty cool today to go out and, you know, I've rode with a ton of people that I've never ridden with in my life, and it's pretty fun when you get to come off the track and discuss the racetrack and lines with all these people that, like, I really didn't know that well, but it was awesome just to talk moto with a bunch of kids that were super stoked to be out there with you, and it was awesome to go out there and just be able to ride with everyone.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So we'll obviously, as the night plays out here, we're going to talk about the event more, but I do want to talk about you a little bit. You know, we talked about Wiener Motorsports, Wiener Motorsports being a big part of this event.
Yep.
And you made the switch back to Wiener Motorsports, back to what you knew this year. We talked about it a little bit at the opener there after Daytona, but it sure looks like it was the right move for you, pal, because everything's coming together, and it looks like now that little snippet of a season or whatever that was there, you're kind of back to what you were a couple years ago. Everything's kind of rolling right into form. What we saw a couple years ago now kind of back on what you've known.
Yeah, there's only one place like home, you know, and that for me, that's been Wiener Motorsports. From little on, I've been riding with Chad, and just it was just one of those relationships where we just clicked, and we're super competitive with each other. And it was one of those deals where, you know, I took and tried some things on my own here the last couple seasons, and I'm glad I did. I learned a lot, and I had my ups and my downs, and it just gave me a lot of respect for what the Wiener Motorsports crew has going on. Like, there's a lot of time that's spent behind the scenes making things work and run as smoothly as they do. And I was super fortunate to have the opportunity to go back to that program. And now that I'm there, I just like, that's where you're going to see me for a while, because it's been a great switch back. Like, I've really, like, the fire's been reignited coming back this season. Like, I was struggling last year quite a bit, and the switch back to what I knew and what I was comfy on has been great. And I'm just continuing to build on like what I had from years ago is kind of where we started, and now we're continuing to build, and it's turned into something great, and I'm really enjoying the process. And it's been exciting to see like the results come back, and to get back in the mix with the guys. Like I was definitely missing that. And now that we're seeing that, I feel like we're going to definitely be able to continue that into the future.
Well, that surely makes things, it surely spices things up. It surely makes you feel a whole lot different about ATV racing when you're back at the front of the pack, when you were, buried in 6th or 7th or 8th there for a little while, right? Like that's not where you were used to being. You're podiuming at the end of your rookie year. And then all of a sudden it was like, where did that go?
Yeah. We definitely took a little bit of a step back, and it wasn't intentional at all, but it happened. And it's definitely something that like, I feel like I never dealt with in my career. Like, I always had very good forward momentum, and I kind of hit a wall for a little bit, and it just took like getting the right support group back around me and just making a few little adjustments that you wouldn't have thought would make the big difference. But that's what it really took, was just all the little things to come together. And for me, it just worked out. Like me and Mini Motorsports click, and that whole setup with my Impact Solutions deal, and they were a big add to my program. And just really the whole setup I got going right now is just jiving well, and we're just rolling with it. And it's more of just kind of been like a relief and pressure. Like I had a rough season, so I just kind of took the pressure off myself and came into this year like with high hopes, but yet like just trying to keep it fun. And that's been the goal all year, is just to keep the riding fun. And I haven't actually been riding as much as I used to, and I feel like it's almost been beneficial to me to like stay refreshed and really enjoy these riding days. And we're going to continue on that path and just see what happens.
Well, it doesn't feel like such a job that way, Yeah. And I think that, you told me what your week was like, kind of working a couple days before racing over here to do this thing. And it sure makes the ATV thing feel like a break more than a job when you're going back home working a real job during the week. Yeah.
And I have, and that's been something different. And it's, I've been thankful. Like where I'm working at home for my parents, lucky enough to have a successful business there. And it's been really helpful to be able to go home and work. And like, I find it a good way to like take a little break, like step away and just kind of refresh, reset. Like you have a bad day, you kind of forget about it and you move forward. And it's been keeping the racing really fun, and we're still super serious about it and come to the track. But I almost feel like it makes me come to the track more prepared and like needing to get something out of the day. And I feel like that's been a really, really big beneficial thing for me, is just coming to the track and like having a schedule and, getting done what I need to done. And it's just keeping it fun and light.
Yeah, you're trying to be efficient that way. You're not at the racetrack every day, so you're trying to make the most of it when you're there. The other thing I wanted to touch on, so I teased this on the show this week. This was the 5th podium of your professional career, but it was the first one since Briarcliff 2022. So kind of like we were hinting at before, there's a nice little gap there, pal. I wondered if, obviously there's nothing like the first one, I'm sure, especially when you're doing it as a rookie. Yep. But after you go through a season and a half or whatever without getting there, I got to imagine it makes that next one feel pretty damn sweet.
This one was huge. That was a real kick last year. Like ending a season without a podium, I almost I hadn't had that yet, and it was definitely a feeling that I don't need to have anytime soon. It was one of those deals where it definitely lit a fire in me this year to come back, and if we were going to do it, like I knew I needed to get up there, and I was getting closer as the season started, but just was kind of hurting myself, whether it was bad starts or making a few mistakes, and for it all to come back together, it was a sweet moment to be at home crowd, home race, on the Vent t-shirt. Like the whole deal was just a super awesome weekend there at Ironman, and super thankful that it worked out the way it did. And for me, confidence wise, it was great to get back up there, because we definitely were needing something like that pushing forward.
So when we knew going into that second moto that you and Jeffrey both were obviously, and I think I posted that you two were both in position to podium. It was basically, winner between the two of you, winner take all. And so what is that like? Second moto, he's ahead of you, and you got to come from a little ways back yet. Like, is it just head down, not thinking about anything else? I got to go get this guy, or what's that like?
I actually like the first moto, I had more of that mentality of like I had a bad start and I really pushed forward and I kind of hurt myself, made a few mistakes. And
yeah, but let me stop you right there, because the way that you had made some passes, and our next guest, Kevin Saar, was one of them. You were battling with Kevin. You get up into, I believe, fourth, and then for a big section of the race there, you made that mistake. I don't even know what it was. You go back to sixth, and you're kind of just there for a while, and you make it happen at the end. Like that was, I was impressed by that too.
Yeah, that one was totally unintentional, and I really don't know how it happened, but I actually had a tether kill cord pull out of the machine on the top of Godzilla.
I've only had that happen one time in my whole life.
I never had it happen in my career, and I really thought I've started to see it all, and I'm realizing I haven't, because it's stupid stuff like that is still happening. And I just happened to land the jump, and I don't know when I pulled a tear off, if I accidentally caught my kill cord, but I landed and the bike died, and it took me a second to kind of gather what was going on and get going again. And like you said, then I had just worked and finally got like some clean air, and then it was right back to work again. So after, that moto, I was, put on a pretty hard charge at the end. So I knew like for Moto 2, it was going to be important to get up front right away. And that way, like I could just kind of chill out and get some clean air. And, we did the exact opposite. My starts were really terrible. So instead, we went out and came out in the back of the pack, and I just knew, like, as long as I didn't let them get too far out, that I just had to consistently click my laps. And luckily, me and Hogue kind of came out close together, and he was ripping. Felt bad with his deal there, the first moto, and I just kind of latched onto him, and he helped pull us forward. And when we caught Jeffrey, I knew, like, Jeffrey's a smart veteran rider. Like, obviously, if you're gonna make a move, make it fast and make it stick, and just kind of waited it out a lap or two and had the opportunity arise and just took the shot, and it worked. And from there it was a sprint for a few laps, and then I knew, like, obviously, like we talked going into the moto, like that's what needed to happen. So from there it was just basically cross your fingers and do everything you could to keep it on the track and get to the finish line. And it was I'm not a person to normally get too nervous, but I won't lie, like when the 2 card came out, I was like, please, like, just don't do anything stupid, like ride within your means and just keep this thing together and on all 4 wheels. And it was definitely a relief to cross that checkered flag.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I can't imagine what the feeling is like to get back on the podium after that break, after that hiatus like that. So we got High Point coming up, Budds Creek after that, then Sunset Ridge, back to the Midwest, back to home. Basically, that's probably more of a home racetrack than any other one. A little bit of everything in those 3 racetracks. And so, kind of talking about this one, we got High Point coming up, then we got Budds Creek, back to where we're sitting right now. Would you have been here in 2012? When we raced, like, you would have been on a 50.
I was here on a 50 in 2012, and did we not come back in 13? Was 12 the only year?
As far as I know, 12 was the only year.
12 was the only year, because I do remember, and the only reason I remember is I was on a 50, and that was the only weekend that I had to sign up for the 70 class, because the 50s did not get to run the whole track, and that just could not happen because these hills are just way too cool. So I was here back then, and it is quite crazy to, like, come back 10 years later and think that you were on a 50 the first time you were here, and the next time I came back I was on the pro gate on a 450.
Yeah, that's insane. So let me take one moment here to talk about myself, because I haven't been here. I wasn't here last year, and I hadn't been here since 2012. So I was in the Pro-Am class at the time, racing Pro-Am Unlimited and Pro-Am Production, and that was the Gibson year.
Oh,
so
my.
I got to deal with that all year, and I finished third in the points in the 2 classes. So basically, I had to be behind that mother effer all year long. And I DNF'd the first moto because of an electrical problem. So I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to the LCQ. This will be my one race where I don't have to deal with this guy. And he had the same thing happen. So even in the LCQ, I had to race Cody Gibson. So that was absolutely miserable. But yeah, I'm stoked to be back here and kind of looking forward to the Pro National we have coming up next month here. What do you make of this pro class right now? Because it's almost a hot button topic, Max, because the class is so fast. The class is so fast, and I seemingly say this every week on my show, that there's nobody out there making you guys look as fast as you're going, because every dude out there is like Pro-Am champion, world, European champion. Like, it's the best of the very best. But there's not a ton of guys out there right now with the absence of Chad Wienen, the absence of Wesley Wolf, the absence of Nick Janusa now, the absence of Zach Decker. So what do you make of the class right now? Because for my money, it's as fast as it's ever been, but there's a dozen guys.
Yeah,
I don't think that you guys don't get the credit then, because it's like, well, there's only 12 guys out there when the class is as fast as I've ever seen it.
Well, and that's the hard part is like, we start the season off with 18 guys and we look to have this huge full gate all season. And obviously things happen for a reason and it is what it is. And, we hope to see all these guys back. And that's almost the interesting part for me looking forward to these races is we have a month break after this next race, just about. It's 3 weeks. So like I start to ask the questions of like, do you see a Wesley Wolf return this year? Do you see a Zach Decker? And like, who's going to show up?
They're going to try for sure.
What's awesome about it though is like our top 10 is so fast right now. Like these guys could show up and just totally throw a wrench in the plans for the weekend. Like you just don't know who's going to show up and end up where. And I feel like that is the awesome part of our pro class right now is, obviously there's Joel Hetrick, which we've just had enough of him at this point, everyone. So he just makes us look slow. It's not even fun. But sorry, bud. We like him. But at the same time, from 2nd to 8th, like it's such a battle. So like I'll be curious to see how things play out as the season goes when you have these guys returning, because the speed is so high. Like where are they all going to fit back in?
Yeah, no, I think it's super, like it's unpredictable. Every weekend's unpredictable, other than at the very front, like you said. I don't know if you're going to predict a perfect season for them, but yeah, I'm not even going to put you on the spot there, but yeah, it's unpredictable, and that's a lot of fun as ATV racing fans. For my money, I think maybe it's the time that maybe one of them younger dudes jumps in there. Like this would be a good time if you're a younger person to jump in the pro class and check it out. If that's where your career path is going, and say something happens, like I get it. I know every one of these fast riders is in the mix in Pro-Am Unlimited too, so that probably spoils that plan a little bit. But if something happened and you weren't in Pro-Am Unlimited, or that's not what it's called anymore, Pro Sport. But if you're not in the mix in points there, jump into the pro class, because right now to get exposed to that speed and those moto lengths and all those things, like I think that would be a really good thing.
Yeah, I mean, pro sport's a little difficult with them being the same days. Like, you're definitely looking. I don't think you can either, is the problem. And I think that's why we maybe haven't seen it as much. But your Pro-Am riders, like, definitely would love to see some guys come up. And I think we will towards the end of the year. I think you'll see guys start to move forward. For now, I think you kind of, unfortunately, just have to see how it unfolds. But like you said, I even think for, like, I look at it like I see Mason Jackson out there, and like he was in a top 5 position at the end of the first moto until I finally got up to where I was able to catch him. And like that's great exposure for all your rookies and your young guys. Like it's obviously hard to see these guys not lining up on the gate and being hurt. We'd never want that. But for these younger guys, it's a great time to like jump on the opportunity to be able to run up front. Like you're not starting so far back. Like Mason's had a couple great starts, and getting to see that pace, and like that's going to really help push our class even more forward to like get everyone prone to that race pace for that whole 20 minutes.
It's fun to hear you talk about him too, because that was you 2 years ago or 3 years ago or whatever the number was. But it's fun to hear that. And I don't know if you're looking at my sheet here, but that was kind of what my next thing was. I even have right here that it's been fun to see Mason jump in the class and be fast right away. And I was wondering if any of these other guys. There's a couple other guys that are not yet in the pro class that really are impressive. There's another kid that comes from back where we come from that looks like he's going to be a good pro here in the next couple of years. Obviously Joey Norris. I mean, there's some guys there that are going to make a mark when they come into the pro class, and it's fun to hear you talk about those guys, because that was you not that long ago.
It's fun to see those guys too, because like it relates so well to me, and that's why it's fun to watch. Is like I was there and I understand like what it takes to get there, and it's a lot when you first come in and you get your bars bashed in. Wesley Wolf was great for that. Thank you, Wesley. And like you really learn your racecraft. Like everyone's super fast. Like it's fun to watch your Mason and Joey Chambers coming up. Like they're both really fast riders, and all they're missing is a little race technique. Like you learn so fast like how to protect your insides and when to go and when to not make moves, and like that's all that separates us guys, is just knowing when and where to go, and the little like mimicking those little mistakes and trying to make them not happen.
Yeah, it's fun to see. Like I think the strength that we're seeing of these young guys, and again you're one of them, is that one lap speed. Like we're seeing crazy one lap speed out of the Pro-Am and Pro Sport guys too, and it's just kind of figuring it all out, and that's something that you got to go through these races to figure it out. And and it's fun to see that maturation process for you guys.
Yeah, and I feel like at the same time, like we're seeing, obviously like we're talking with having a small class here, it's also kind of a changing of an era in my eyes. Like you're starting to see this young crowd of pros. Like Chad is our last older pro, and then you're even seeing your Jeffrey Rastrellis and your Nick Januses and Joel Hetricks are 30 years old, and you look at the age gap back from like your top couple guys to the next group. Like we have a really big group of young guys coming in, and I think that's so great to see for the sport that we're going to have 10 or a dozen young riders coming up that show speed and potential, and hopefully they all stick with it and work their way up, because it'll be awesome here in a few years to see that all unfold.
Yeah, that's been a conversation around the dinner table for us, is that this class is going to change, and it was a little scary a few years ago thinking about someday you're not going to have Janusa and you're not going to have Rastrelli and you're not going to have some of them guys that we've seen up there for so long, and now it really looks like there's guys there that are going to fill the void.
Yeah, and obviously it's great to get to run with these guys and learn from them and see where they're at, and it's also been great. You're starting to realize once you do realize you can run with these guys, like it's creating great racing. And I think for the next couple of years you're really going to see that. Like you're going to see your vets that are smooth and consistent, and you're going to have your young guys that have their 1 or 2 or 3, 4 races a year that they've like the track, are meshing well and are super fast, but yet they're going to make their few mistakes, and you're going to have these great battles between your vets and your young guys as they're learning.
Yeah, I love when you see that be intermingled. When you got it's no different than seeing you and Chad Wienen battling. It's like, how does that? It doesn't even make sense, but it's really cool to see how that works out. So yeah, it's fun. Like I said, it's fun to hear you talk about those young guys, because that was you just like yesterday. But one of the last things I want to talk to you about, I know we're here at Budds Creek, but the one thing I want to mention is this Legends race coming up at Briarcliff, because I feel like we haven't been talking about it enough, and it's going to be really cool. So this morning, just for this conversation here, I got the list that everybody wants to know about. I have the list of the guys that are confirmed to be coming, and so I kind of wanted to ask you, like, who do you think? So I'll give you this list, right? And I want you to kind of tell me who you think is going to, I don't know, be the guy to beat in this race or whatever. So because as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, nobody has this list. Nobody has seen this list to this point.
As far as I'm aware, I have not seen a list, so I'm really intrigued here to hear who's all coming.
Okay, so I'll give it to you. So Doug Eichner, West Coast guy. You did a little West Coast stuff. I've never talked to you about that either. We'll have to do that another time. Tavis Kane, Dustin Wimmer, Dana Creech, which is like the headliner for me, Johnny Hale, Shane Hitt, that's co-headliner for me, John Natale, Josh Upperman, Pat Brown, Casey Martin, Billy Cottage, Cale Downing, Tyler Hamrick, Barry McCarty, Nick DeNoble, Corey Ellis, Richard Pelchat, Davey Hagsema. There's a little bit of everything there. I mean, McCarty's got to be 60 years old. DeNoble won a moto 2 years ago. And then you got a little bit of everything going on there. And honestly, in my mind, the dude that's never going to quit and is always going to be fast is John Natale. So,
yeah, and I just raced him a year ago out in Vegas.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he's going to be quick. And then, like, I'm just still trying to process this whole list. This is awesome. Like, for me sitting back here, like, I honestly couldn't tell you. Like, I got into the sport in 11. Like, I don't even know if I've seen half of these guys ride before.
No,
like, that's going to be awesome just to sit down and be able to witness all these older guys that, like, I've seen videos of and you've heard of, and it's going to be great just to put a name to the face and see all this stuff.
So the other thing, and I don't know that this is fact yet, but the other thing that has been in consideration is that it's not going to be one gate drop. Like, the dudes that aren't as current are gonna be like a wave ahead, and you're gonna have that. So you're gonna see racing through the pack. Now, I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but that was the plan that I heard like a month ago. Is that's how it was gonna be. And honestly, in my mind, you're forcing racing then, and that's gonna be super cool.
I mean, I'm loving the sound of it. So all I'm hearing is you heard it here on Digging Deep. So if anyone's getting yelled at, it's Cody. It wasn't me. So not involved in that decision, but I'm liking the sounds of it. So yeah, that is going to be, like, if that's the case scenario, it'll be so great to see, like, these younger generations pushing to these older generations, and yet, let alone, I don't know about some of these older guys. Like, I'll be curious to see if they even let the younger guys catch them.
Oh, I agree. But the one thing that is for certain is Nick Denoble's got to be on the very farthest back row. In my mind, he's got to be on the farthest back row only because he was current 2 years ago. It's not fair any other way.
Yeah, I mean, he almost needs to start backwards or something. So we got to come up with something for Nick.
Yeah, I'm sure he's loving that. Well, Max, I can't thank you enough for being here and doing this with me. Like I said, it feels like we've come so far. I remember you being a little boy, and then I remember you being on the 250, and now you're like almost going my speed, and I'm like, damn it, like how is he going that fast? And then now you're, like I said, you're obviously far surpassed me, and you're a pro a podium finisher and all these things. It makes me so proud and so fun to see how far you've come. So to be here doing this with you at Budds Creek, it's kind of a pinch me moment. It's awesome, and to have you headlining this event for us, this live show for us, is pretty cool. What do you got planned for between now and High Point?
We're going to be out here yet again tomorrow, Budds Creek. So come on out. We're going to be doing a little more teaching in the afternoon. Hopefully teach some little kids some things. And from there, we're going to either ride down the street here. I hear there's a track open, or we're going to make a quick trip down to the Carolinas and maybe see some friends and family down there. And we're just going to stay out here till we can basically get up to High Point, and hopefully it all works out.
Awesome, man. Well, congrats again on the success last weekend. Thanks again for being here for this, and best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you very much, Cody, and appreciate this big honor to come here at Budds Creek and get to be a part of this thing. So thank you all.
Awesome, pal. Thank you.
We'll get right back to the show, but now a word from our sponsors. And thank you for listening to these ads. Without these great companies, none of this would be possible. Show your support for the people who support us. The official tire choice of Digging Deep, CST tires are the choice of ATV racing's elite on the track, in the woods, and every other terrain. CST tires swept the ATV racing world in 2022 as Joel Hetrick, Bryson Neal, and Bo Barron rode their Pulse MXR and Pulse HT tires to an ATV Pro Motocross title, GNCC XC1 Pro title, and 10th ATV Pro Works Racing title, respectively. Led by champion Joel Hetrick and podium contenders Bryce Ford, Jeffrey Rastrelli, and Nick Janusa, CST's Pulse MXR tire is the most trusted tire in ATV motocross today. Available in soft and standard compounds, the Pulse MXR offers the highest level of traction, most predictable cornering, and superior wear characteristics when compared to the competition. And did I mention they have a contingency program as well? Visit shop.csttires.com to join the CST takeover today, or prepare to be beat by someone who did. The best of the best choose CST. Do you? You know we're Team Blue Crew here at the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, as the Yamaha YFZ 450R is the official ATV of Digging Deep. In a move started by 8-time ATVMX Pro Class national champion Chad Wienen, who with his next championship will become the winningest champion in ATV motocross history, we are living in ATV racing's YFZ 450R era. Alongside Wienen, 7-time GNCC XC1 Pro ATV national champion Walker Fowler welcomed a pair of new champions to the Yamaha Champions Club, as the podium-proven Yamaha YFZ 450R proved to be the winning choice for Joel Hetrick and Bryson Neal. This unprecedented success for the YFZ 450R, its unrivaled quality and performance, and the clear fact that Yamaha is the leading OEM supporter of ATV racing has resulted in a complete Yamaha takeover within the sport quad market. Evident by the continuation of Yamaha's Blue Crew Racer Support Program, Yamaha riders will once again cash in on payout and prize opportunities in 2023, including a chance to win a brand new YFZ 450R. For more info, head over to YamahaBlueCrew.com. Follow Yamaha Outdoors, as well as the new Blue Crew official channel on social media, and check out Yamaha's full proven off-road lineup at YamahaOutdoors.com today. SSI Decals, your way. SSI Decals sets the standard with the best looking decals, graphics kits, and vinyl wraps in the industry. Established in 1947, SSI took shape as an offshoot of their parent company by doing a little work for local pro Chad Wienen. Nearly 2 decades later, and fueled by a passion for ATVs, the company has flourished into one of ATV Moto's most recognized brands. From ATV motocross, SSI has expanded into graphics and design work for top racers in GNCC, Works Racing, Pro Motocross and Supercross, off-road, and more, headlined by 8-time world champion top fuel drag racer Clay Milliken. Whether your project is big or small, SSI Decals will make your identity stick. Get started today at SSIDecals.com and use code DIGGINGDEEP10 for 10% off at checkout. Things are about to get sick.
The Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast is brought to you in part by DID and their wide range of championship-winning chains. From the street to the track and everywhere in between, DID chains are designed to give you the optimal riding experience with great performance and increased chain life. Consistent to the core, pick up your box of reliability today. DID, what drives you?
We are proud to be partnered with Namura Technologies. For over 20 years, Namura has pushed the limit of value and reliability in the ATV and side-by-side market. Covering more applications than anyone in the industry, Namura's full line of cast and forged pistons, connecting rods, gasket kits, and industry-leading top-end repair kits and more have led to higher overall engine performance for your machine. Visit your local dealer or online at www.namura.com. And follow along on Instagram for giveaways and exciting new products in 2023. Namura Technologies, your one-stop shop engine component supplier. We are pleased to be partnered with Bronco ATV and UTV Components. Bronco has been an industry leader in replacement hard parts and accessories for all makes and models for over 15 years. With a catalog that includes a full line of electrical components, engine internals and cylinders, shock and suspension parts, winches, clutch kits, valves, carb kits, bearing kits, and drive chain parts, Bronco is your hard part source for whatever you need, for whatever you ride. Available exclusively through distributors around the world, visit your local dealer or online at broncoatv.com.
For over 150 years, Valvoline has been dedicated to constant improvement and innovation across all disciplines of racing. As a proud member of Team Valvoline for nearly a decade, I have witnessed their unwavering commitment to pushing the boundaries of performance. Valvoline has sponsored some of the greatest names in motorsports, solidifying their position as a powerhouse within the industry. Being a part of this historically great team has been an incredible privilege. When it comes to my equipment, whether it's my daily commuting vehicles, race quads, or anything in between, I trust nothing but Valvoline. Their range of products and lubricants consistently deliver increased horsepower, durability, and engine life. I'm excited to announce Valvoline's breakthrough in performance, Valvoline Ultimate Power Sports. With up to 8 times stronger rust protection and 50% better wear protection, this cutting-edge formula ensures your ATV's engine runs smoother and longer for the ultimate ride. Tackle rugged terrains with confidence knowing your ATV's engine is equipped with the best protection available. Ready to experience the next level of performance? Head over to shop.valvolineglobal.com and use code DIGGINGDEEP10 at checkout to unlock an exclusive 10% off on your purchase. Don't miss out on this limited time offer to enhance your ATV's performance with Valvoline's Ultimate Power Sports engine oil. All right, next let's get Kevin Saar in here to talk with us here on the show. As he gets settled in, he's a 5-time European champion. He's a former AMA ATV Pro Class podium finisher. He's the reigning AMA ATV Pro Rookie of the Year, which I don't know how that works. The dude is not a rookie. He never was a rookie. But from Estonia, Kevin Saar, welcome to the show, buddy. I know we just had you on a couple weeks ago, but thankful that you were able to make the trip here, spend some laps today, and now be here with me this evening. I can't thank you enough for being here, pal.
Yes, thanks, Cody. It's definitely something new sitting next to you and talking to you right like that.
Well, and that's what I said to Max. I said to I haven't done like tons and tons of these interviews, in person like this. So this is a pretty cool thing, and you can adjust that mic if you want to pull it back to make it a little more comfortable for you. There you go. But yeah, I can't thank you enough for being here for this, and it's fun. Like I told you about this once before, but to think when we started to hear the rumors of you coming to the States, that was a really cool thing. That was a cool thing to think about, that I always called you the Chad Wienen of Europe, of European ATV quad racing. And to now be sitting here in the States, to see you doing as well as you're doing here in the States, and now to be sitting here next to you at Budds Creek doing this live show, man, it's a pretty special thing. So like, this is what I do all this for, is to be sitting here with riders like you.
Thank you. It's good to hear. It's good to be here. Like I have said many times already, it's been a dream of mine, and I really enjoy my time here.
So we'll talk about Budds Creek as we go here, but we just chatted with you on the show a couple weeks back. The last weekend at Ironman, you went out and maybe rode the best races of your life here in the States. So tell me about Saturday.
I would say so, yeah. I felt really good. I enjoyed this track last year already. They made some changes, but I felt good on the first practice already, so it was a good day. First moto, I didn't get the best start, but as we don't have as much riders right now, so I worked my way up there. I made some good passes. I felt good. I was in the fourth with a few laps to go, but made a small mistake, went over the berm and lost a couple of positions. So finished that one in 6th place. Second race also finished in 6th, so yeah, overall 6th place. I'm really happy with that.
Oh hell yeah! I mean, going on to the last lap there, being in the top 5, I think you were in 4th, still on the last lap as far as I was concerned. There, that was really cool to see, and to be running up inside the top 5 all day like that. What an accomplishment for you, because you had told me top 5 is the goal. I mean, basically top 5 is the realistic goal, and the class is no slower, even though it might be a little down on numbers right now. The class is no slower. So to be in the top 5, basically achieving your goal, man, like that's a really big thing.
Yes, that was my next goal, to be in top 5 to 7, I would say. But yeah, we are losing a couple riders. It still feels good to be up there. I feel like my speed is getting better. My gap between top 5 to top 7 is closing in, so that feels good, and I hope to keep improving. So
Moto 2, you're catching Jeffrey Rastrelli late in Moto 2. You made a push at Jeffrey late in Moto 2, and I would assume, coming from Europe, Jeffrey's probably one of the riders where you're like, man, like that's one of the headliners from the States, I would think. So take me inside your mind. What is that like, chasing down a rider that you probably looked up to in a way at one point? That's got to be, I mean, I don't know what that's like, but it's got to be a pretty damn cool feeling.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's my second season here, but it still feels so unreal to race with these guys. I have watched them racing from back home, watching YouTube videos, now racing with them at the same start. It's really unreal, and yeah, get to talk to Joel Hedrick, Chad Wynn, and it's even now talking that it's so unbelievable.
And I know I've said something very close to this to you before, but I'd want to say it to you in person. I don't know how many people get to truly live out something that they dreamed of doing, and to see somebody like yourself doing just that is a really, really cool thing, because not every human being gets to do that. Actually, it's probably it's a rarity. So to be doing something that you truly dreamed of doing, and to also be doing as well as you're doing it, you're not just out there circulating, you're in the mix at the front of the pack. You should be really, really proud, because at Ironman, I'll tell you something, at Ironman, my wife didn't really know where Estonia was, so we looked it up, and it's on the other side of the world. So to use that ATV as a vehicle, to be here in the United States, to do as well as you're doing, man, you should really hold your head high, because that's something so you should be so proud of it. Put it that way. You should be so proud.
Yeah, thank you very much. Estonia is far for sure, and I'm so thankful to my family, my dad, everyone's that's supporting me. It's been a dream. I'm saying it every time, but it's really has been a dream, and I'm here. It's unbelievable.
That's awesome. So on Sunday in the Pro-Am class, you go to DNF. You were in second when you suffered some kind of mechanical there in Pro-Am. We don't need to go through that. The part that I do want to go through, I connected with you after the race, and you said to me, I'm so happy. I asked you kind of what happened or how you were feeling or whatever, and you said, I'm so happy about how Saturday went, how the pro racing went, that you didn't even care. That's what you said to me, and I just that resonated with me. Like, to have that outlook, to be that positive, to know your goals, to be achieving those goals, to not be hung up on that you were just in second and your quad broke. I just think that that's something that a lot of people can really learn something from. Like to have that, you were seeing glass half full, you were seeing positivity, you were seeing the good in what happened on the weekend, and I wish more people were that way. Like, I think that that's something that we can all learn a little something from, and that's probably why you're being so successful, is because you're looking at the positive side of things.
That's really how I felt. I was so happy about Saturday. Getting 6th place, it's a big improvement from me. I was outside of top 10, I would say, a lot of races, and I'm trying to make some new goals, like small goals, and go step by step. So it feels good, and obviously I want to do good in Pro-Am too. I wanted to really win the second race and overall, but Yeah, it's ATV racing. Things happen.
It's one of those things that happens to everybody eventually. So, pal, you're trending in the right direction for sure. As we kind of finish up here, can I ask about the number change? So what's the story on giving up your 311? Because to me, 311 was kind of iconic as far as Kevin Saar goes. So what was the story there with the number change?
Yeah, it wasn't easy. Blair messaged me last year. Obviously, he has been 311 as well. Mm-hmm. I took some days to think about it, and he has been the same number for his whole career like me, so I respect that. And he's local here in the States, so
wow,
I respect him. I respect that he has been the 311 and he wanted to get the number, so I talked a little bit. So yeah, I just story. Got the one number.
Got it.
And now he's not racing in the Pro Class even, so now it feels a little bit not the great decision on my part.
Well, that was kind of why I asked. Not that I'm sure he didn't know that his season was going to play out this way or whatever.
I looked up if 31 is available. If I had to change, then 31, because I needed to have 3 and I needed to have 1 in there. Mm-hmm. So it was available, and that's how I make the decision.
Okay. Well, like I said, I figured that was the story, but wanted to ask anyway. Tracks like Ironman. So tracks like Ironman, not that much different than here. Big jumps. There's some big jumps on this racetrack here at Budds Creek. Did you ever I have an idea of what the tracks are like in Europe, but a lot of them that I see you guys riding aren't like this, aren't giant elevation as far as the jumps go and stuff like that. So when you come here and you see big gulp and all these things, I mean, is that a lot different than what you're used to over there? Because you guys, I mean, we've talked about the big tires, the sand, the ruts or whatever, but this even the hills, the elevation, that isn't anything that you guys deal with really, is it?
We have hills in Europe, not in Estonia, but we have hills in Italy, France. So I have seen tracks like this, mm-hmm. but not as big jumps as we have here, like Ironman here in Budds Creek, Big Up. It's definitely a little bit hard, but I have learned the track, so it's nothing new to me now.
Okay, yeah, that was one of the things. Like I know, and you watch, like we probably all watch MXGP or whatever, right? And we see the elevation, we see the hills and all those things, but I didn't necessarily know. Like I don't see the jumps necessarily.
Back in Europe, if we have big jumps, no one jumping, so it's very easy. Here in the Pro Class, you have no choice; you have to jump it. So that's the hard part. You have no choice; you have to jump.
Okay, so Ezra Beasley, track owner here, just offered up this question for you. So first of all, we'll start with European. We'll start with your favorite European racetrack.
That's a good question. I think last year where we had the Nations, it's pretty cool track in Italy. Cingoli, yep. That was pretty cool. I didn't like it as for racing because it was tight and just one line. But as the track itself, it has big jumps and stuff.
Elevation there too, right? It looked like pretty big elevation.
That was a cool track.
So then what about states? So favorite track so far in the United States coming from Ezra. And now there's probably pressure as we sit here. I see the look and everything. But you got to be honest.
I like Ironman. Ironman, I really enjoyed last year. I enjoyed this year. Even though I didn't like the changes they made, I liked it more last year. But just the Ironman track itself, the name, it's popular from the States. Every European knows these tracks.
So we talked about this on my show this week, but some of those changes are in the middle of the bigger changes that are coming because they're prepping for the Motocross of Nations. So what that track that we rode on last weekend isn't the finished product. You could probably see some trails getting cut up in the woods behind the start and stuff. That they're getting ready for the Motocross of Nations in a couple of years, and that's why we were kind of in the it almost like, I don't want to say thrown together, but the track wasn't a completed version last weekend, and that's why it was the way that it was. But yeah, I did like the version last year.
Hopefully it's gonna be ready next year.
Yeah, but ballsy for you to sit here at Budds Creek and talk about Ironman.
I like Budds Creek. It's not that I don't like. I just chose the one.
Yeah, and so and I'm just giving you a hard time. It's fun to listen to the dirt bike guys because so many of them say that Budds Creek's dirt is their favorite of all. Like all the Florida guys and the guys that come from some of the best sandy places on earth, they love the dirt here more than anywhere. So that's awesome. The track, like I said, was primed today, and it's going to be great for the national, the ATV national coming up here in a few weeks.
Maybe next month, maybe if I jump the big up, maybe it's going to be my favorite track.
There
because
you go.
Last year I didn't jump it, and I have to jump it.
There you go. I was looking at it today, man. I'm like, from a dead stop in that corner, that is a monster.
Yeah, it's a big jump for sure.
Yeah, that's a big one. So let's end on this, pal. I kind of dipped my toes into the water on this question when we had you on the show recently, but you're doing so well. You continue to improve. You're checking off these goals. You're doing so many things, great things here in the States. The music racing team seems like the perfect fit for you. Brett and all those guys have been awesome. Just looks like this has been the perfect marriage. So all that being considered, with how well you're doing, with everything going so well, with the team being so great, all those things, how long do you see yourself doing this here in the States? Because like I told you, I'm scared of what the pro class looks like without you. I want to see you out there for the next decade, but I know things are probably always up in the air. You never know what support's going to be like, all those things. But I mean, say, given the opportunity, would you like to come back next year and do it again and keep getting better? Because I know it probably is very hard to be away from family and the lives that you and your other half here know of, on the other side of the world. That's got to be a big commitment. So that's kind of where this question's coming from.
Yeah, but it's been a dream, and I love racing, so I'm gonna keep doing it as long as I have the support, and as long as I have the support from my family, my sponsors back home, music racing. Hopefully they want to continue, and if everything's go well, then I'm gonna come back next year and keep racing.
I absolutely love that answer. And she doesn't get enough credit because she's always a trooper. I love the vlogging and the videos and all the stuff that you guys do together. It's always so happy, and she's obviously such a team player to be all in on your dream like that, because not everybody would be that way. So that's another really cool thing that is a huge asset to your program. And I know I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but she deserves some credit too. So this
for sure, she's been a huge help. It wouldn't be possible without her. So I really thank her.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Well, we'll finish up with that, Kevin. I can't thank you enough for being here. It's been awesome. Like I said, Chad Wienen of Europe, I'm going to continue to call you that, even though you're here now. And I can't thank you enough for being here, sitting down with me, being here at this Budds Creek event, all these things. So can't thank you enough, pal.
Thank you for having me. It's been a great to be here at the track doing interview like this. So, and the track is really good too. So
you had to say that now. Thanks so much. That's European ATV racing legend Kevin Saar. Everybody, thank you.
Thank you.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
The following message is brought to you by Manscaped.com. The Manscaped engineering team has outdone themselves this time, creating the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, now available for purchase in the U.S. and Canada. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped, an official sponsor of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, with this exclusive offer of 20% off and free worldwide shipping with code DiggingDeep20 at Manscaped.com. I'm one of the first people to try the new 4.0, and I am blown away. This thing is next level. What sets this trimmer apart from all the rest? The Lawnmower 4.0 gives you the ability to turn the LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. It features a new multi-functioning on-off switch with travel lock for those of us who like to travel. And my favorite, the new trimmer allows you to customize your trim with 4 different guard lengths, an upgrade from its predecessor that only featured 2. If you're listening, you know that good tools are a must, so wait no more to get the best tools for the job. Get 20% off and free shipping with code DiggingDeep20 at Manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at Manscaped.com by using code DiggingDeep20.
Hey everyone, this is Larry Mills, president of DP Brakes North America and proud partner of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast. We at DP Brakes are a longtime supporter of ATV racing and the world leader in sintered brake technology, dominating the ATV world for decades by supporting the best four-wheel racers on the planet. This year's lineup includes Jeff Rastrelli, Mark Baldwin and Baldwin Motorsports, Ford Brothers Racing, Nick Janusa, and many more, including Mr. Digging Deep himself, Cody Jansen. Plus all the top 17 GNCC pros such as 7-time champion Walker Fowler, Bryson Neal, Hunter Hart, Cole Richardson, Jared McClure, Adam McGill, and previous champion Chris Borich. These top riders continue to appreciate the high performance and impressive durability that their DP brakes have to offer, products that ultimately help place them on top of the podium week after week. DP brakes are available through www.dp-brakes.com, or you can purchase them through your local Parts Unlimited stocking dealer, or you can even message us, myself, Larry Mills, or DP Brakes on Instagram or Facebook. And if you have any questions about product or sponsorship support, please ask us. We are waiting for you. Join the best ATV riders in the world equipped with DP Brakes, and have a great year, everyone.
Nearing 2 decades into the brand's existence, Factory 43 is back and better than ever, continuing to make major waves in the ATV world. For the 3rd consecutive season, Factory 43 is the official aluminum parts choice of the Phoenix Racing ATV team, providing their state-of-the-art Evo Nerf bars, MX-style front bumpers, and grab bars for 2-time champ Joel Hetrick. If you're in the market to upgrade your Nerf bars, bumpers, or grab bars, head over to Factory43ATV.com to see their full line of industry-leading products available for all makes and models. Head over to Factory43ATV.com today.
Hey everyone, it's Michelle Stillo, director of the D6 Ultimate Quad Series. We've been working hard over the years to bring you the very best in local ATV motocross racing. The D6 Ultimate Quad Series has race classes for all ages and skill levels. Maybe you're an experienced rider or you're just starting out, we have a class for you. We're excited to announce that we have 11 rounds of racing at tracks located in Pennsylvania, New York, and Maryland. For more information, follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
All right, so our next guest on the show here, throw the headphones on if you would, just so we know that our audio is working well. Mini Moto Nation. We got Mini Moto Nation coming to the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast. We had some Mini Moto stuff going on today. That was supposed to be a big thing going on here this weekend, is the little quad stuff. Like a few things going on this weekend, a little impacted by the weather. But tell me about what you do. You promote events and do all these things for Mini Moto Nation, and then tell me, how you kind of integrate the mini quads into that as well, because that's a cool thing. It'd be easy for you to overlook the ATV thing. So that's kind of the part that I really wanted to hear about here.
Yeah, so Mini Moto Nation kind of started as like a backyard party with all of our friends, and it kind of blew up overnight during COVID. We were having events during COVID when we probably weren't supposed to be. Cops kept showing up, and that kind of made everything a little bit cooler. Then we moved on to the next year, and we wanted to kind of blow it up. So we went to tracks and started building our own tracks there, and just kind of kept getting bigger from there. A lot of my friends ride pit quads, so we were kind of like, I wasn't really into the idea being a dirt bike guy. I was always like, yeah, we're not bringing the quads into this. We're not doing that. And then I raced a couple quad races and just ventured into it a little bit. And then this year, I just wanted to grow, so we added the quads in. And I guess we're going to see where it goes from there. So
the quads are at the same events. Mini Moto Nation events have mini quads too. Is that how I understand it?
Yeah, so we added in 3 classes. I've worked with some of my friends that do quad stuff, and the 3 classes we did was stock limited, and full mod, just to see where it goes.
Okay, yeah, that's cool to be open-minded to the ATV thing. I like that. So tell me how people, wanting to get into this, because like there's a zillion people like me. Like I grew up, I got way more time on a pit bike than I do a big bike or a big quad even. Like I would ride from sun up to sundown on my pit bikes every day. I had 10 TTR 125s and a bunch of KLX 110s. Like we did the whole thing. So I'm sure there's people right now that are perking up right now talking, mini quads, mini bikes, whatever.
Right.
So kind of if they want to get into it, they want to support your series, they want to come out and race, all those things. Where do you guys race? What classes do you offer? Kind of give me the lowdown.
Yeah, so we have 20 different classes, which is different than any other pit bike series. We have classes for kids, older people, women, a little bit of everything. Wow. Right now we're just Maryland, West Virginia. I'm just a normal guy that does this after work, so it wears me the heck out.
I believe it.
Our big thing is to bring in new people. Like we have payouts and stuff to cater to the fast guys, but our tracks are built for a mix of both. Like you can be a pro rider. We have a lot of pro riders that come out and race for the money.
Yeah.
And then we have like a 35-year-old guy that messages me on Facebook, like, what bike can I bring out and race? And I'll find bikes on Marketplace and send it to them, and they'll get a bike and come out and race and have a blast with their buddies. So,
Wow.
I mean, we welcome anybody and everybody.
So tell me about the payout thing. Like how big do those purses get?
We started with around $10,000 payouts.
Wow. Holy
with
man.
like 3 or 4 classes. And to be honest, there's like 5 or 6 really fast pit bike guys,
Yep.
and they kind of travel around the country
They
and
mop
take
up.
all the money.
Oh yeah, no, I get that, but still,
Yeah.
like that's an eye-popping number, though.
yeah.
I mean, that's nuts.
So when we would have 2 events a year, we could do $10,000 a piece, 2 races at $10,000. And then now that we do like 4 to 5 events a year, it's like they've dropped down some, but I've also been pushing to bring newer people in. So
Okay.
when you put $10,000 on a race, new people aren't going to show up because
Right.
they're like, I'm just going to come watch. You know what I mean? So we've dropped it down and just done like more prize stuff, whole shot awards and all that, and it's brought a whole different crowd of people.
Got it. And one of the other questions that comes to mind, because for the pit bike thing, a lot of times the big wheel stuff gets excluded. You know, the KLX 140s, the TTR 125s. Do you have classes for that too? Because that's one of the things that sometimes those guys get kicked to the curb.
Yeah, I mean, the only class that we don't really have anything for is like the XR50. It's kind of phased out.
Yeah.
I mean, we all love them, obviously, but we can't get a full gate of them. But I mean, we have KLX 140s all the way down to XR50s.
I love that. Yeah.
For the kids and stuff like that. So, I mean, everything.
You truly got a little bit of everything.
Right. Yeah, I mean, with 20 classes, there's a spot for everybody. It makes for a full day. But
I love that. I love that. So what does the rest of the year look like as far as schedule goes? Because like I said, a lot of people are going to be perked up right now, me included. I would love to come out and be a part of one of these things. So what does that look like? What's the schedule look like for the rest of the year?
yeah, so we have Promised Land is our next event. We had to reschedule from last weekend because of the rain. So we have Memorial Day weekend. Then we have Budds Creek is June 21st and 22nd. Then we're back to Promised Land for Labor Day weekend. And that's like a 3-day event. And then Tomahawk is October 27th and 28th, which is our like annual holiday Halloween event.
Got it, like a big end of the year thing.
Yeah, we do like burnout competitions and stuff, kind of finish your bike off at the end of the year.
There you go. So you're going to have an event here. So I thought I overheard you saying that was going to happen over on the circle track over there. Is that true? Like you make like a pit bike, like Supercross style in the middle? Is that how that goes?
Yeah. So I'm going to try and come in, I guess, a week or so in advance and work with the team here at Budds Creek and build us a awesome pit bike track. I mean, all of our tracks are designed around pit bikes. If I can't do the jumps myself, they're not good enough. So we always make some fun stuff, and
nice.
It's always a good time.
Nice. Well, I'm gonna have to come out for that event. I'd love to come out to the event here at Budds Creek. What was the date that you said on that?
The 21st and 22nd
of which
June.
Month? Of June.
Yep.
Oh yeah, man, that's one that's got to be circled on the calendar. Lastly, so is that what the tracks are like? Pretty man-made, pretty supercrossy, or is there variation? Because now my mind's going like you got me all over the place because it sounds like so much fun. Because I said, my first love, pit bikes, first love for sure.
Yeah, I mean you have to look us up online. Just search Mini Moto Nation on YouTube. You'll see all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I mean you might come to a race and we're lighting a car on fire and you're jumping over it in your last moto. Here will be more of like a supercross with a little bit of motocross in it.
Okay.
With pit bikes, you have a lot of freedom on what you can do, but you want it to be fun. It's got to be safe for the kids, and it's got to be a show. Our goal is to put on a show. It's not just a race. It's like a whole event.
Well, that's the pit bike stigma, basically, right? It's kind of like Crusty Demons, it's wide open. It could be just about anything. So, man, that sounds like a blast. So credit to you for pulling this together, because the pit bike thing was really, really big 15 or 20 years ago. But without people like you doing this, it kind of falls to the wayside, right? Like you said, I mean, the guys that are really doing it probably got to travel a little bit all over the place, because it's not like it used to be where everybody had a bunch of pit bikes and, there was a series going on and all those things. So credit to you, man, for making that happen for all the people that love pit bikes as much as we do.
Yeah, I mean, most of our people aren't local. Like when I have a race, there's 80% of the people are driving 8 to 10 hours. It's just a huge crowd, and there's not really like local people. You know what I mean? Not a lot of people around here really ride pit bikes, but when you throw an event, they travel from all over the country.
So yeah, look at, I mean, to tie a bow on the mini quad part of it, all the people that go to Janusa's event in New Jersey, they come from all over the country to go support it. So that's a perfect kind of representation of the pull that events like yours have. Well, credit to you, man. Can't thank you enough for kind of filling us in on it and being a part of this weekend and the mini quad thing and all that stuff. So keep on keeping on, and I look forward to being at your one of your events here soon, pal.
All right, I appreciate you having me out, and I'll see you guys at the races.
Awesome, pal. And I wonder if is Joey Norris here? Maybe we finish with Joey so I can end with Ezra. That would be a perfect way to do that. So Joey, let's jump in here. We'll finish with Joey Norris, or not finish with Joey Norris, but we'll get Joey Norris in here to talk a little racing here on the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast. Let me find my Joey Norris page here. All right, so yeah, next guest, our third and final racing current athlete guest of the night here. Help me welcome ATV racing phenom Joey Norris to the stage. Joey, a killer weekend for you last weekend, P2 in Pro-Am, P3 in Pro Sport, but I have to ask you right off the jump. I have to ask you about that jump last weekend, pal. So at what point did you decide that you're going to jump this thing? That obviously we've all seen the videos at this point by now, but the five, basically, I don't even know what you call it, but into basically that hole, the thing that we saw Hayden Deegan do last year that he made famous. At what point did you decide that you were going to jump this thing?
Well, Joel just told me to hit it, and so I guess I'm just testing him. So I just went out there and tried it, cased it a little bit the first time, and gave him more gas the second time, and I cleared it. And I told him, and then Bryce texted me, and I got Bryce to hit it, and then it just went from there.
Well, man, pretty cool to be at the level where Joel Hetrick's telling you to do something, and you're like, yeah, I'll just do it. To be at that level, man, that's a pretty special thing. Not many people are gonna even think twice when Joel Hetrick tells them to do something.
Yeah.
So, did you ever have any sketchy moments on it? Because I saw a couple sketchy videos. Like I saw Noah Arnold, right? I mean, that video of him coming up a little short on that thing and landing right in the dead spot, man, that was nasty. I couldn't unsee that one.
Yeah, that sucked. I was out there, and I was going to hit it that practice too, and he hit it first lap, and then when we didn't get to hit the jump the rest of that time. So.
Got it. Well, the first time I saw you do it, I was like, man, his throttle had to stick, because the way that, obviously, double, you're seeing a couple people double, and then you see somebody, triple, double, or whatever they were doing for the first time. You really had to stick the landing on the triple. There wasn't much room for error there. And then the quad, and then for you to jump all the way over it, man, that was insane. So obviously that's the first question that I had to ask you here. And I was trying to get you going, Joey, because you almost turned me down on doing this tonight, and it's lucky you were not in front of a crowd here because of the little bit of rain we got going on outside. But I really appreciate you joining me for this. We talked a little bit at the beginning of the year. Since then, you've strung together a couple pro sport wins, and the season's been really good so far. So tell me about the season so far since we last talked, because it's been really good. You're the points leader in the pro sport class. You've been in the mix, obviously, in Pro-Am. So you've been slaying it, pal. So tell me about the season so far.
Yeah, the season's been going good. Texas, we didn't have that good of a race. I came out with 2 crashes, and then Etchikani was decent. I got a win in Pro Sport in that one, and then 4th in Pro-Am on that one, which isn't the greatest for me, but I'll do.
And how those classes work. I mean, if you can just stay in the mix somewhere near the top 3, top 5, that's right where you need to be, because craziness seems to happen in all those classes. It bites somebody at every race, right? Like, that's how it feels.
Yeah, it's always something that in them classes.
It's like survival, kind of. So obviously then another good weekend last weekend. One of the things that I was thinking about watching you last weekend was to, as you're sending these big jumps and you're always so loose on the bike and you're letting that thing dance underneath you and all those things, I'm thinking to myself, man, what it must be like to be 16 again. Not that I was going as fast as you are at 16, but yeah, that's a crazy thing to think about. Your 17th birthday, I would think, is probably coming up pretty soon here.
Yeah, it's June 1st.
Yeah. I figured it had to be soon, because I remember you coming of age here at this race last year. So tell me how did this race go for you last year when you first turned 16? Because obviously I remember that being a talking point, is you jumping onto the scene on the 450 and really making a wave there when you were, kind of debuting on the 450. So how did last year go here, that 450 debut?
It did really good. Production A, I ran Production A in Pro Sport last year.
Okay.
And Production A, I have tracked them, and then after that race, we just dropped out of that class. And then in Pro Sport, first race on a 450, third in Pro Sport, I would take it.
Pretty impressive, yeah, for sure. So why I wanted to ask that is life comes at you fast, doesn't it? Because now you're one race away from coming in here with the points lead in the Pro Sport class. That's pretty impressive to think about where you were a year ago at this time, not really racing a 450 yet or whatever, not being of age to race a 450 yet, to now be where you're at and be kind of one of the guys to beat in the fastest amateur classes that there are on the face of the planet for ATVs. Man, what does that even feel like when I say that to you? It's got to be surreal.
Yeah, it does. It's a sick feeling to me. Like, it's really cool. It's a dream come true to be leading these classes like at 16.
Oh, and it's what for forever. I mean, you're only 16 years old, but for as long as you can probably remember, this is probably what you dreamt of doing. So to be doing that and making it a reality, man, that's got to be pretty cool.
Yeah, half the kids I race now, I grew up watching.
Exactly. That's insane. So tell me a little bit. Last time I interviewed you, you were with Zach Decker. Zach seemingly now that he's hurt, has turned into like your personal guide, your personal trainer, whatever you want to label him as. It seems like it's going pretty well. So maybe you're going to have to get this dude on the payroll or something, because things are peaking right now.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So like, are you spending time during the week together, or is it just
he just flew back down here to get me. I've been home for state testing and get my driver's license.
Nice.
So now I'm flying back to Florida tomorrow.
Okay, cool. Well, we appreciate you being here and being a part of this. And when I got word that you were going to probably be here today, that's why I reached out and wanted to get you on the show here, because I thought you'd be a great addition. And the more times I make you do this, Joey, you're gonna it's not gonna feel so painful to you. So yeah, we're gonna hold you down and make you do interviews like this here at Digging Deep. So you're racing a bunch of really legit guys. We talked about that in the Pro-Am and Pro Sport class. You're dicing it up, at the front of the class, like you just said. You're racing guys that you grew up watching. So what is that mindset like, when you're racing guys that you grew up looking up to? Because I've said on recent shows that that's what makes kids like you different, is that you don't look at those guys and think, oh man, like, I can't mess with him. That's so-and-so. When I know for a fact, I've watched you ride, I know that that's not how you think. You want to go get them. So what is that like? Because I don't know what that mindset is like.
I don't know, really. I just go up to the gate. I just go up wanting to win, and then coming off the track, if I don't win, it's upset. Like, I'm upset a little bit, but I go out to Moto 2 and try my hardest.
Well, that's what makes you as good of a competitor as you are. So I figured that was going to be the answer to your question there. Well, pal, I can't thank you enough for joining me. I can't thank you enough for being here and being a part of this event. And man, it was a whole lot of fun watching you ride out there today. So I appreciate that and appreciate you being here. It means so much to me for you being here. And yeah, like I said, we're gonna make a regular of you on the show here if you keep riding the way that you're riding, pal. So like I said, I wanted to hear about the jump and how well you were doing last weekend and everything. Tell me let's end on talking about the track here at Budds Creek.
It was good today. I didn't ride at first because it was a little muddy. I waited until like maybe noon, and then I went out, and then after that it got really good.
Man, it looked prime.
Yeah, it was nice and prime. The ruts were nice.
Man, I was very jealous of watching you guys ride out there and spinning laps. The thing looked perfect to me. So again, pal, thanks so much for joining here, giving me a little glimpse into your mental space and all those things, and keep up the great work, pal, on the track. We're wishing you the best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you for having me on here.
Awesome, pal.
Here. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, pal. That's Joey Norris signing off here on the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast.
Success in the ATVMX world is similar to what creates financial success as well. The right people, the right advice, and more importantly, hard work and the benefit of an ongoing relationship as situations change and adversity is experienced. Do you have the right financial advisor to help you reach your goals? Haymauer Financial Group can create a personalized, goal-based plan to help your family prepare for whatever life brings. Call me, Scott Haymauer, at Haymauer Financial Group, a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, at 920-338-8150. That's 920-338-8150. Offices located in beautiful De Pere, Wisconsin, with registrations and clients nationwide.
Headlined by the 4130 Chromoly, Launderville Steel and Concrete Supply is a full-service steel supplier of new and surplus steel, aluminum, and stainless steel products. This racing family-owned full metal service center and concrete product supplier comes with over 30 years of experience serving the entire United States from their central Midwest location. As the number one choice for nationwide shipments and with available next-day delivery in select areas, LSE has you covered near or far. 4130 is not just the chromoly tubing and plate used in the building of chassis for an array of motorsports applications, but it is also the name of the newest addition to the Pro Paddock with riders Jaden JJ Launderville and Max Lindquist, introducing the new 4130 Motorsports team. Launderville Steel offers a large selection of material for any project, including their concrete division that can supply everything you need to complete your next business or personal project. For a quote or more info, visit laundervillesteel.com today or give them a call at 715-675-6193. That's 715-675-6193. Here at Digging Deep, we have an obvious passion for ATVs and pridefully enjoy sharing the sport's history. Since 2019, when the podcast was born, we've been working to partner with individuals who share our passion, but one man and his vision had been missing from our partnership group. Until now. When it comes to the sport's history, the hallowed grounds of Binky's Forever ATC Museum has it all. Binky Tapscott's mind-blowing collection of 3- and 4-wheelers has preserved history by spanning all makes and models from Honda 3-wheelers in chronological order to unique builds that shaped ATV racing as we know it, like Doug Gust's iconic DRZ-powered hybrid thumper and everything in between. There's no denying Binky's passion, a passion that we certainly relate to here at Digging Deep. Binky's goal is to share his amazing collection with fellow enthusiasts by making his prized possessions accessible to the public via scheduled visits. Follow Forever ATC Museum on Facebook and watch foreveratc.com for further updates on possibly getting a chance to see Binky's Forever ATC Museum for yourself. We are proud to welcome Binky's Forever ATC Museum to the Digging Deep family. As the number one podcast in ATV racing, it's only right that we partner with the industry leaders in suspension tuning. Insert Impact Solutions. Impact Solutions is a full-service ATV and side-by-side suspension center specializing in the revalving and service of your motocross and off-road suspension. With over 25 years of elite-level knowledge, experience, and testing with riders of all ages and ability levels, Jay Goebel and the Impact crew strive to exceed clients' expectations for service and setup. Impact Solutions is the official Elka Suspension Service Center of the United States, offering unmatched product knowledge and experience. Whether you're in need of service, parts, warranty, sales, or technical support, Impact Solutions has you covered. Head over to ImpactSolutionsATV.com or give them a call today. With the desire to keep you in the race, Ultimate Poly Products offers the Ultimate Protection Collection of case savers, chain sliders, intake manifolds, and more. Founded on quality in 1998, this family-owned and operated business produces products created by racers for racers. These industry-leading products are proudly made and manufactured in the USA, with their case savers being made of the highest quality American-made polyurethane on the market and designed to completely conform to your engine case to help prevent case damage from a thrown chain, because no one wants to be a spectator on race day. Join top pro riders like Bryson Neal, Walker Fowler, John Glotta Jr., Adam McGill, Cole Richardson, and more by using UPP Racing products. Use discount code DIGGINGDEEP15 at uppracing.com to save on your next order. Ultimate Poly Products, made to last longer so you can ride more. Thanks for listening, and remember to support our partners. Now back to the show.
And the man of the hour, Ezra Beasley, the owner here at Budds Creek, is who we're going to end our show with here, our live show here, Digging Deep ATVMX live show here at Budds Creek. Ezra Beasley, we're going to get him on the show here to talk about this event, talk about the track. We'll see what we can all get into here before we call it a night. But Ezra Beasley joining us here on the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast. Welcome back, pal.
Thanks for coming out, Cody. I also got Robert Lytle here with me. He and this other guy, Damian Thomas, these guys are my wizards out here with the track. I I'd be kind of lost without them. I know just enough to be dangerous about the actual racing surface. So I brought him up here as well to help answer any questions about the track.
Awesome, pal. And don't be afraid to adjust that mic. You can pull that bar all over the place to make it a little more comfortable for you. But pal, it's kind of my first question, or I guess maybe I should start by thanking you for having an ATV event like this. I know the rain might have chased a couple people away, which is a shame because the track was so perfect today. Like I know that there showed a little rain cloud on my little app on my phone, leading up to the day here. And when I got up this morning, man, the weather was perfect. The track couldn't have been more beautiful. By the time I got here, everything was perfect. So I can't thank you enough for putting on an event like this at a track like Budds Creek. It's absolutely iconic. I started this show by talking about that. So to have us here, to have an event like this, I can't thank you enough, pal. I wish everybody under the sun that rode an ATV was here. They'd be loving it. This is the place that they wanted to be. For whatever reason, they weren't here. But I don't want to focus on the fact that they're not here. I want to focus on the fact that I can't thank you enough for putting on an event like this for us.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming out, Cody. There's a lot of great people involved in this event. Chad, Max, couldn't have done it without them. Dave Wingate from Mini Moto Nation, and all the riders that came out and supported today. I know the weather scared some people away, but there were plenty of people that came and braved the elements with us today, and that was awesome to see.
So let's start by talking about this brainchild of this event. Where did that come from?
So I'd never really thought about the ATV community that much. We kind of talked about last year that all the ATV guys, they'd comment on our posts every time we'd open up for practice. When would the ATV guys be welcome out here at Budds Creek? And I never really put too much thought into it. And then Tim Cotter and Carrie Joe from MX Sports reached out to me about hosting an ATV National last year. And I kind of ran with it. I know Carrie Joe, she's super passionate about the ATVs. I don't know if the community would still be around without her. Mm-hmm. And she's kind of a steward of the ATV sport. And that's awesome to see her passion about it. And it got me really excited for it. And then I just started working with some great people. Michelle Stillo at District 6. She said, hey, a lot of our guys want to come out and practice at Budds Creek before the Quad National. And this was last year, 2023. And so we threw an ATV practice, and I think it was our third or fourth biggest practice day since I bought the track from my dad. And that got the wheels spinning. The ATV community was really excited. And I feel like it snowballed. The ATV community has really supported me in this last couple of years because they see there's not many tracks to ride at. And it's special to them that we get to open our doors to them. And they make that known for sure.
I think that we're all looking for a home. The tracks that accept us, like you are kind of hinting at, are few and far between nowadays. And to give us a home like you have, especially to have an ATV Motocross National like you have, that's a really special thing. Not very many ATV National tracks can you go to and have a practice day where you can ride the track ahead of time. So what you've done here this year, and to have a practice like this, you kind of hinted at doing it in the past too. That's a really big thing. So again, we can't thank you enough for that. One of the things I asked you about before we sat down here, before we hit record on this show, I asked you about the origin story of the facility here. I asked you if your dad was the original owner, and you said that he was. So can you give me a little bit of the background, the origin story on Budds Creek?
So the origin story on Budds Creek is my dad and his dad. My dad's name is Jonathan Beasley. His dad's name is Hewlin Beasley. They were on their way to do some fishing down in Allen's Fresh, which is about 4 or 5 miles north here of the track. And they drive by, which was once an Amish dairy farm, and they see 20 deer in the field and a for sale sign. So my grandpa, he goes and puts an offer to buy the property because he was an avid hunter. And my grandpa, he passed away 2 years later. And my grandma, she decided to open up the Potomac Speedway in 1969 because that's our stock car track. That's our tenant here at Budds Creek. She worked for the County Parks and Recs, and they did a survey of what recreational activity the people of St. Mary's County would like to see. And the leading vote getter was stock car racing.
Okay.
So the stock car track came to Budds Creek in 1969. I think it was 1972. The movie On Any Sunday came out, and my dad was just enamored with the movie and decided to get into dirt biking.
Sign of the times.
And he had a heck of a race, or a heck of a property here that was just kind of going unused besides the stock car racing. And he goes to his first race, a track not far from here that only had 2 races, and they got shut down because people were parked down both sides of the road. And he said, I could make a pretty cool track in my area. So he got plugged in with this local motorcycle club that was predominantly Navy servicemen down at the Pax River base called the Terra Motorcycle Club. And in 1972, my dad and the club, they started building a little track here, which probably looked more like a hair scramble. And first race was at the end of 1972. First full season was 1973. And all sorts of racing back then. District 7, our local district, it's they're still hanging on, but barely. And the first pro national was in 1989.
Wow, that's crazy to think about. It's crazy to think about because obviously, as long as I've been aware of motocross racing in the United States, this is one of the most premier facilities in the country, right? So, and kind of like I started the show talking about, thinking about, Motocross of Nations being here. Like when I was telling people back home about like what we had going on this weekend, to think about like that's how I would sell it to everybody is that the level that this track is at is the level of a place that hosted Motocross of Nations. So to be here and doing this for me is a pinch me moment. But that's what I think of when I think of Budds Creek. I think of Ricky Carmichael. I think of that Motocross of Nations. I think of Henry Hill, right? Like it's just all of it is so iconic to me. And then for you, that's got to be pretty cool too, because you may know nothing different, but it's not like you own some little rinky-dink track. Like you own one of the most notable tracks on the planet, and one that everybody, like your dirt is the envy of so many people. That's got to be a pretty cool thing as a motocross advocate like you are.
Yeah, for sure. Like one of my favorite parts of my job is that I just I give people a great experience here at Budds Creek, something that they might have looked forward to for a long time, coming out and racing at Budds Creek, and that's super special. And I can only hope that it lives up to their expectation. But we've had people all over the world make the trip to come ride at Budds Creek, from Guatemala to Australia to Kevin here from Latvia.
Estonia,
sorry.
Yeah, I was going to mention him if you didn't.
Yeah, so I'm sure he knew about Budds Creek many years before he actually came out here, and that's just cool. Our global recognition.
Yeah, it's awesome, pal. Well, it's cool to hear the origin story. So there's like a monument over here. Like there's it's like a Civil War looking thing. What's the story with that? The cannon.
Yeah, so my dad, he's a big history buff. Now in his retirement, he gives Civil War history talks, but we have a couple cannons. I believe they were both off of shipwrecks.
Oh, really?
Civil War era shipwrecks.
Okay.
Faced across the valley. My dad likes to joke that they're bombarding each other.
Nice. Okay. I was curious because I always think like it's cool for me, being from the Midwest, like to come out here. Anytime I come to the East Coast or to the East here, I think of like all the history out here, so that's why I had to ask about that, because I'm kind of a history guy myself. Like everything is so much older here, like where I come from, everything's pretty new, so kind of cool to hear about that. Well, pal, it's awesome to sit here to think about that. We had this Quad-A-Palooza weekend here at Budds Creek. I hate to even see it come to an end, but let's look forward to the ATV National coming up here down the road this summer. You got anything cool, anything new in mind, any track changes, anything like that? Let's just briefly talk about the ATV National.
ATV National, it's going to be a heck of an event, as it always is. Hopefully we don't have that crazy Friday night deluge that really threw a wrench in the plans last year. That created quite the challenge for us. But the track, Yeah, I'm sure the track's going to be great. Got Robert Lytle right here with me, my right-hand man. Rob, you got any track changes in mind for these folks?
He was definitely shaking his head no as I mentioned that question.
Nothing major, no major track changes. We'll adjust the some of the faces of the jumps. We've gotten some recommendations today to help these fast guys get over our big triple that we call Big Gulp, which is okay. A practice weekend like that, we don't particularly want to set it up where people want to challenge it. We've got maybe 3 or 4 guys here this weekend that could hit it.
Yeah, exactly.
But when they see them hitting it on a practice weekend, you get some guys maybe down in the B class that it's okay that they want to challenge it, but at the same time, we're trying to get through a clean, easy weekend.
I get it.
Yeah.
I
So
get it.
we kind of left it a little tame this weekend. We'll juice a few things up for the big boys when they come in June, and it'll be a good weekend. Last year we had a lot of rain and we fought it, and I thought we did a good job. We got a lot of compliments for what we dealt with. So rain or shine, don't look at your phone app.
Yeah.
Show up and show out and let's race.
And you're hitting the nail on the head there with that, because the track was so perfect today. The one thing, Ezra, so we talked, I had you on the show here going into the ATV National here last year. We didn't necessarily talk on the backside of that. So that event, you also had the TT National here at the same time. So there was a whole lot going on here. For my money, it was the highlight of the season last year, because those two things, I started as a TT rider before I was an ATV motocross rider. So that was the highlight of the schedule for me last year. Briefly, just recap how that weekend went for you guys, because again, for my money, that was the coolest event on the schedule last year. A little bit of everything. Every quad rider in the country was here, I think, of all disciplines. So kind of recap that briefly. The smiles and the smirks, I don't know what we're going to hear here, but yeah, I thought that was something I wanted to hear about.
Yeah, that was an absolutely crazy weekend because of that Friday night weather. Yeah, we were just getting ready for our Saturday day of racing, which was the main event for both of these two races, the TT and the ATVMX, and we got an absolute deluge. I think we broke all 7 of the easy ups we owned. Hail was coming down. It was raining sideways. I know, I was just sitting out in the rain, and I kind of had a little breakdown. It was just laughing, going crazy, swan dived in one of the puddles, because it kind of felt like, to me, it's like when you build a beautiful sand castle at the beach and the wave comes in and washes it away.
What else are you supposed to do?
Yeah, so then Saturday was extra challenging for us, just getting both these two shows, making them happen, and we made it work. The TT, it's hard to run that when it's wet, so that just kind of threw a challenge in there. We were out there till 2 a.m. running that.
I remember.
Yeah, and then
but it sure was a hit. Don't overlook the fact that everybody freaking loved it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. 1,000 riders.
That's insane.
Between the MX and the TT, but it was some long days for all of us. The whole crew worked really hard. We had a couple big injuries that stopped the program. JL Opperman, if you're out there listening, hope you're doing a lot better, brother.
Yeah, he's doing well. He's itching to get back on the quad. If it was up to him, he'd already be riding. So he'll be back.
Sweet. Maybe we'll see you at the Budds Creek National this year.
He will be here. Yep, he will be here. But yeah, I wanted to touch on that. Wanted to hear about the race last year and all those things, and wanted to be able to say that I thought it was the highlight of the season there. But no chance, or was there ever consideration to have the TT event at the same time? Was it way too much? What was the story with that?
It was a lot, and it just created some challenges that I feel like this ATV Motocross National is such a prestigious event. It's the real prize, and I want to give it the respect it deserves and make them the showcase of the weekend. I wouldn't want anyone to say that I didn't give that race my all, because we had the TT going on, and I've no doubt we could have done it, but I just felt like the ATV Motocross race commands that respect, and I didn't really understand that before we we did this event last year.
Understand. Well, that's as a track promoter, as a promoter and an owner of a track where our ATV Motocross National goes, to hear you talk about that with all the stuff that Budds Creek has done and does on a yearly basis, to hear you talk about the ATV Motocross Nationals in such high regard is something that I don't take lightly. So credit to you for that. Credit to you for all that you continue to do for the ATVs. Again, I don't want to harp on the fact that we wish that we weren't dealing with a little weather, that we wish more people were here, all those things. But is this something that you would see yourself doing again? Because you told me right from the jump earlier today that you don't want to just close the book on this after trying this one time.
Yeah. The weather, that's all part of the game. When you do an outdoor event, it is what it is. I know leading up to the event, there was a huge just outpouring on social media, people excited for this event.
Yeah.
So I think the weather scared a lot of them away. But if you're willing to make the trip, and if Max and Chad are willing to make the trip, and Dave's willing to bring the Mini Moto Nation out here again next year,
yep.
I'm sure we can make it happen. I'd love to do it again and grow this into like a really cool and special event. Because we haven't really touched on this yet, but I've just been keeping note on some of these other cool events that have been taking place in the ATV community, like the race down at the Decker training facility, or what Jeremy has going on at Briarcliff with the Legends race.
Yep.
There's the ATV guys want special events for them. They want to feel special just like the moto guys. And I feel like this could turn into one of those key events for the ATV community outside of the ATV National.
I hope so. I hope that you're right. It's something that as long as you invite us back, we will be here every single year. And I can't imagine, we talked about this earlier today, but I can't imagine that anybody here wouldn't return to do this again. So the hope is that with all the pictures, the videos, how beautiful the track was, how great you treated us, the show and making sure we showcase how awesome everything was this weekend and all these things, we make it so that this is a can't miss event in 2025 and beyond. That's the hope. But as long as you'll have us, I think I can speak for myself for sure, and I can speak for all the people that are here this weekend. There's no chance that we would miss this, especially with the way that you hold the ATVs in such high regard. So again, I can't thank you enough for having us, for having Digging Deep be a part of this. It's been truly an honor. And on behalf of all the ATV riders that were here today, this weekend, we can't thank you enough for having us, because again, we don't take that for granted whatsoever.
Yeah, thanks so much to everyone that was a part of this. I had a blast today. I'm looking forward to having a blast with you guys tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to having you back in June 8th, 9th, 10th, I believe, off the top of my head, is our ATV National. That first full weekend in June, just since I'm a promoter, I got to promote while I'm up here. We got the Pro Motocross dirt bike race coming up August 17th. If you've never made it out to that one, we got all the top guys in the world like Jed Lawrence, Eli Tomac, Hayden Deegan. And it's just a crazy weekend. We have amateur supercross racing, amateur motocross racing, camping, all sorts of other cool activities. If you've never been to a pro dirt bike race, this is the one to come to.
Yeah, absolutely, pal. I think we spent the whole episode talking about how this is the place to be, whether it's on ATVs, on dirt bikes, or anything in between. So great way to end this one, Ezra. No better person to kind of put the finishing bow and the finishing cherry on top of this Digging Deep ATVMX live show here at Budds Creek. So I can't thank you enough for having us, pal. I can't thank you enough for having myself and the ATV community here. I can't thank the riders enough for being here, and the riders that came and sat down with us tonight, all the people that put a little time into the show here tonight, your connections, helping with some of the equipment that we used and all these things. So many people to thank. So again, I don't take any of it for granted, from the riders to yourself to all the people that filled the gaps. And with that, Ezra, I'm going to thank you one more time, and then we're going to sign off here on the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast. So thanks to everybody that made this happen, and thanks for joining us and making this the most listened to podcast in ATV racing. Thanks so much.
Man, I am exhausted. But traveling out to Budds to host this live event with an array of awesome dudes, This was absolutely bucket list for me. I'll never forget it. Again, thanks so much to Ezra Beasley and his crew for the opportunity and the royal treatment. Major thanks to tonight's featured guests, Max Lindquist, Kevin Saar, Joey Norris, the Mini Moto Nation crew, and Mr. Ezra Beasley himself. Thanks to producer Dallas Jansen, my brother, for all his hard work. Thanks to my wife, Brooke, and thanks to AMA official Harv Whipple. And thanks to all of our donors. Thanks to all of our partners. CST Tires, go to shop.csttires.com today. Yamaha, thanks to Blue Crew. Thanks to SSI Decals, Valvoline, DID Racing Chain, Namura Technologies, Bronco ATV and UTV Components, Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply, the financial advice of the Haymauer Financial Group, DP Brakes, Factory 43, Binky's Forever ATC Museum, Impact Solutions, Ultimate Poly Products, UPP Racing. Use discount code DiggingDeep15 at uppracing.com, the D6 Ultimate Quad Series, and Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping with code DiggingDeep20 at manscaped.com. Support all the brands that support our show, and don't forget to use those codes to save. Find it all on our website, and be sure to click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner for all your gear and parts needs and to help us out. And most of all, thanks to you guys for listening. Shop our Digging Deep merch at shop.diggingdeepatvmx.com today, and find all things Digging Deep ATV fantasy related at atvfantasy.com. If you're looking for another easy way to help support us, visit our website and click the Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee buttons. This allows you to set up a one-time or monthly contribution to support our efforts. Follow the show on social media, Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, and myself, Cody Jansen, for additional content, coverage, and more fun stuff here in the midst of this exciting 2024 ATV motocross season. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and more. Wherever you find podcasts, you'll find the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast. All episodes, additional podcast providers, sponsor links, and discount codes, show merchandise, fantasy info, and more can all be found on our website, diggingdeepatvmx.com, so check that out today. Be a friend, tell a friend, please download, subscribe, rate, review, and share. And with that, for Max Lindquist, Kevin Saar, Joey Norris, Mini Moto Nation, Ezra Beasley, Brooke Jansen, Dallas Jansen, and I'm your host, Cody Jansen. Thanks for listening to and making us the most listened to podcast in ATV racing, with nearly 256,000 downloads last month in 108 total countries. Until next time, thanks for joining us in Digging Deep with the Stars of ATV Motocross. Things are crashing and burning here at the Digging Deep podcast, much like the Titanic.
Those guys were hauling ass, for real.
I remember watching Doug Gus, I don't know who it was, Steel City, running the same times Friday afternoon as James Stewart was on Sunday back then. It was mental. I've never seen quads go that fast.
Quadlers are freaking gnarly.